The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Hey, it's Tony Kurre. I was really blessed to have been friends with Mike over the last few years. He was on our Kurre and Claypo show and, of course, the Tony Kurre Radio Network numerous times, probably over 100 times. And through those times, I really got the chance to know Mike on and off the air, and he shared some wonderful stories with us. And to remember his life and memorialize him and celebrate that wonderful life he had as a coach, as a father, and as a grandfather, we put together some of our favorite clips. I know you've heard a lot of things that went viral throughout the country, but these are all from our show at the Kurre and Claypo Show and Tony Kurre Radio. And we put some of our best bits together, and we hope you enjoy it as we ask Mike to rest in peace, and God, please take care of him. It's Mike Leach, folks, on Tony Kurre Radio.
One good thing about recruits, besides the fact you get see a bunch of good players and hopefully future Cougs, you eat pretty well. We have these great dinners, yeah.
David, did you have a question you want to ask him? Go ahead. David Sears, our producer. Go ahead.
Coach Leach, I got your book for my birthday. Tell me about the...
at least it's better than getting a tie.
I'm at the Red River Shootout when you dropped the fake play sheet. How did that come into your mind just to mess with Texas that way?
Well, Texas was a very imposing team that year, and loaded, and we were a young team, and with a new staff, and so there's a point to where first of all, you're exhausted. You're sitting there late at night game planning, and when it's your first year with the team, then as a coach, it's even busier because you have to tell everybody everything. The older guys can't tell the guys in the back of the line what to do next, and so we're putting together game plans, trying to figure out what we can do, pouring over film. And then you get almost film drunk, where it's just a blur. You're too tired to sleep and too tired to stay awake, and it gets to be a blur. So then Cale Gundy comes by, and we get to talking, and we got to lay a script out there. And then, one thing leads to the next. Well, you're damn right we ought to. Well, we ought to have it say this. Yeah, we ought to have it say that. But we could put this on there. Well, pretty soon one thing leads to the next. And this whole conversation starts about 1:30 or 2 in the morning. And then by 4 a.m., we got us a script and, wrote it up. And, it's got to look like it's in code, like every team's got their code and their calls. And it's got to look like it's something like that. But it's got to be transparent enough that we can situate them, opposite of where we're going. And then so it was a total Wile E. Coyote experience. And then Cale's was the perfect name to put on top of that script because he, played quarterback at OU, played Texas a bunch of times. And so Cale Gundy at the top of it. And the funnest thing was watching the body language of them as they picked it up, as they handed it off in the tunnel. And then, you let your imagination run from there. But turns out Tom Herman was a GA there at the time. And the thing that was pretty exciting last week was I never knew what it was like for Texas on the receiving end of this thing. I never knew what their true reaction was. I mean, we guessed, we thought about it, we hoped, but what was pretty good about this deal was then you got to hear it. And then, it's funny because however many years ago, a long time ago, you got to see, what OU was thinking. You got to see what Texas was thinking and compare notes. So it really is a pretty fun story that I wasn't sure I'd ever hear again.
Maybe just going forward, how to keep that fire lit. Do you have anything for me?
Well, the biggest thing is make sure she's your best friend. But with that said, anything that you expect to do within your marriage that is important to you 20 years from now, make sure you do it now, whether you feel like it or not, because you've got to maintain. It's just like your right to vote. If you don't exercise it, you might lose it. And so you need to exercise any rights that you expect to maintain between now and the duration. So see that you do that and do it from day one, starting now. And she needs to do the same thing, obviously. Anything she expects out of you, she better make sure she gets it.
I think she's done a better job of that than I have. Yeah.
Well, then she'll close in and she'll be the alpha and she'll run the whole deal. And
Go that far now.
so anyway, she's well on her way to just conquering the whole household. So you better play a little defense and protect your territory there.
That's why I have you, Coach.
Well, you give me a call.
Did you get a chance to watch in the royal wedding this morning?
I'm not a royal wedding watcher guy. And it's funny. There's a funny dynamic with that. The Brits aren't nearly as fascinated with it as the Americans.
Yeah.
And I've seen it suggested that the reason that's the case is because we don't have a king and or royalty, so we don't have a chance to share in that, and we don't find marriages or non-marriages and back and forth with our American presidents over the decades to be quite as captivating as someone that's got an actual castle and things of that nature and knights in shining armor. So, we're kind of more into it. I get the impression, and I believe than they are over there. But everybody's got their hobbies. I'll go to Europe. I bet you go to Europe, and one thing that they're fascinated by that I have a hard time getting my arms around is that Route 66 Americana business. You'll go to Europe, and all of a sudden there'll be a restaurant or a bar all set up. James Dean, leather jackets. Sometimes they don't have a Harley Davidson, maybe a picture of a Harley Davidson. All this Fonzie stuff, menus with some European adjustments that on the menu items where it's supposed to be like Mel's Diner or something like that. Just trying to do that thing. They're captivated by American Indians over there in some spots, and which I'm captivated by that too. So I'm with them on that. But the thing is they didn't have any American Indians over there. And then, that whole Route 66 thing, just one guy's opinion. I know, some people moved across the country and stuff, but I truly believe that those guys got in their 1950 Chevys or whatever, and they got as far across that piece of road, much of which is boring, as quickly as they possibly could. And I don't think they have these nostalgic memories of sitting there in the car, eating bad food, staying at a dusty hotel along the way.
I'm speechless, Coach. No, Coach, this is Josh, and I was saying when we played your clip about the wedding advice, and when you talked about, I'm not interested in that. I don't care. And then you clarify that about, that gets you in trouble too. I said, spoken like a true psychologist, and he just analyzed the royal wedding. It's exactly it. It's the reason that we're fascinated with that royal wedding is the same reason that they're fascinated with the Route 66. They don't got it, and they make it up better than it is. And I guess they would argue that we're playing it up to sort of a fantasy. Look, I got to ask you this question, Coach. Do you?
Here's one for you. You along the same lines. Okay, so I'm over there in England. I've done camps over there in England a number of times, camps and clinics and things like that. Okay, so I go over to England, and so I'm and the people taking us around are English coaches. I'm like, okay, hey, so when do we get to go see some castles? All right, well, it's one of those castles, the Tower of London. Oh, okay, well, that'll be awesome. And then we're going through their hometowns. Wow, there's a castle. Have you gone to see that castle? No, I've never been. The English guy says, no, I've never been there to see that castle. And then, there's another one. Well, that's a littler one, but have you gone to see that castle? No, I've never gone to see that castle. And he goes, they're everywhere. We don't have time to go see all the castles. And then, so finally, they get tired of this a little bit. They go, why are you Americans? Because me and the other American guy with me, he was the same way. So they go, why are you Americans so interested in these castles? He says, they're everywhere over here. That castle's not that big of a deal. I said, well, we don't have it. And so then the English guy just pauses, thinks carefully for a minute. He says, well, yes, you do. Then he goes, why, no, you don't. Yeah. You don't have any castles. And so it goes. Everybody wants what they don't have,
You are a father of 4. Happy Father's Day to you a little early, live in Portugal. What are some of the best things, the best attributes you've taken as being a father that you have used on your football players and vice versa?
Man, it's tough. I mean, I think my fathers and grandfathers did a lot of good things, and you learn from them here, step by step, and then other fathers that come into your lives, whether they're your coaches or friends, and you just try to lead and guide people as you can, as you've been led and guided to the positive. Coaching makes it challenging because, one of the things that you're feel guiltiest about as a coach, and I think all parents suffer this. I think all parents that work hard suffer this. They feel like I don't spend enough time with my kids. How can I spend more time with my kids? How can I include my kids? How do I get my kids involved? And then, sometimes kids don't want to be involved. Sometimes they're just interested in other stuff. Well, then, you got the tipping point of okay, well, if we compel the guy some to be involved, then he'll learn to love it and it'll enrich his life. But if we force him, then, it's just going to be a very negative process for everybody. So it's a delicate balance, and I don't think it's an accident that this is difficult.
Yeah.
And the other thing is people grow along the way, too. Yes. I mean, I think that at different stages, I've been a better father, a worse father. I know my dad was at different times, and I'm sure his dad was, because I think it's a series of corrections. I think it's a series of trying to learn and adjust, and everybody's changing. I mean, as a father, you're changing. As a son or a daughter, you're changing. I have 4 kids that have done a lot of great things that I'm extremely proud of. I very much believe that my wife has probably had a bigger impact than I have, but, I've tried to be there, tried to be involved the best I can. As a college football coach, though, boy, there's going to be some blank spots that trouble you, that all of a sudden you're working 60 hours a week and, you hear about your kids more than you see them, and that's tough. And then in the summer, and then during spring break, in the summer, and even in May, we just take them out of school. It'd be screw this, take them out of school. Our family this, and we'd take them out of school. And it would be, there'd be a point to where you just had to put family ahead of school. And my kids all did good in school. Like maybe you have a late bowl, you can make Christmas break a week longer because you're still up there skiing, or summer or something, you're at the beach, but you would have to just take chunks of time and spend with them. And we had some great family vacations. I mean, just outstanding. And some of the best ones that we had, at least as a family, because I really like Club Med. A lot of people don't. Okay, I really like Club Med because...
hey, Coach, I just want to tell you, Coach, I just got to tell you, I grew up through Club Med with my dad. I've been to 9 or 10 of them. So I want to tell you, I've done the whole village thing, crazy signs, and the whole.
Have you been to Punta Cana when they still had it?
I've been to Punta Cana. I've been to Ixtapa. I've been to. Now I'm forgetting. I've been to there's one in Cancun.
Well, here's what I thought was outstanding. Well, first of all. And I love Americans, but I'm already familiar with Americans, and I see them all the time. Okay, but you could go there, and, and there'd be a bunch of, a lot of French people, Spaniards, English, people from all over. Well, first you got to experience that, but the other thing that I thought was powerful were 2 other things. One was, there were enough foreigners there that as a family you'd draw together because, you had more of your own because you didn't just have a pile of kids that are all speaking English or have American habits and things like that, a pile of adults. So you tended to do more things as a family. The other thing was activity-driven. It wasn't just give me a popsicle, give me a milkshake, give me another drink while I sit here on my ass, okay? It was like, no, go, you're going on a trapeze. Oh, by the way, we're having a dodgeball tournament, volleyball to the death. Okay, now, archery, whatever, And so it was all skill and activity driven, and just doing that together, I thought had a benefit. Then you go back to the housing, which the housing. I heard about this. I don't know if it's true. I believe it, but I don't know if it's true. They said that there was some outfit down south there that built those dorms for them, and what it was a company that had built some prisons. And what would they do is they'd make these concrete shapes. Think of the dorms there.
Yeah.
They'd ship them out on boats and then load them up there, and then just whitewash them, stick a carpet in, a couple single beds that you could squeeze together and pretend they're double beds.
That's right. No TVs, no TVs.
On the wall.
Yeah, no TVs, no nothing.
No, you just went there to sleep. And the thing is I got to be honest, every time I went to those rooms, I was tired, and it felt good to be tired, and we all did a bunch of stuff together. I couldn't recommend Club Med more to anybody wondering where to go. Like, if you want to be spoiled and just, patted on the back, told how great you are, go to one of these American resorts, and they're nice, and they'll do that, okay? And then once in a while you'd get the French snot thing, where they do where they're real snotty.
Yeah.
And I always loved that because I refused to be in a bad mood around one of those. And Montreal was even more so than France, and I've always liked the French and admired them. Okay, and first of all, I've done a bunch of camps over there. Okay, the other thing is the French don't like uncomfortable silence. That doesn't bother them. I mean, people sitting at a table drinking tea or coffee, you don't have to talk. Where of course Americans and the British, we'll talk to a post. We'll talk to ourselves. You have to talk, right? And the French can't figure out why they can't have any peace and quiet, and the Americans and the British can't figure out why the French are being mean to them and won't talk to them. Well, that's just how we are, okay? Yeah. And so then, you go racing out there, and one of those French-speaking guys, he'd just be snottier than hell, and you ask him a question. And when you first go out there, and this is even to another French guy, they're not going to touch each other. It's just a very sort of cold head nod, nod the head. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'd ask them a question because I wouldn't know where to go or what to do and couldn't read the signs, Hey, where do you go with this? And then they do that whole rainbird sprinkler thing where they start spitting out of their mouths and waving their hands. And they go like that, and they're kind of doing a half circle.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would just follow them around to where I met them when they finished up, because I got to where I could time where that was going to be.
And it's Coach Mike Leach of the Washington State Cougars. Coach, good evening. How are you?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic. We realize there's a little bit of a delay here because why? Where are you at?
So there's a delay, huh?
just a little bit. I know you're overseas. Where exactly are you right now?
Oh, I'm in Croatia.
You're okay. Can you?
I'm in Croatia. So you have a delay, huh?
Yeah, just a couple seconds. So, and I know you were in Cambodia a couple of weeks ago, several weeks ago. Now in Croatia. What's going on in Croatia? If you don't mind sharing with us.
It's just an incredible country, and I've always wanted to see it. And it's really beautiful. I'll tell you what's amazing is, and I love Italy. Italy's a great country, but, there's not a lot of islands off of Italy, and yet there's all these just these incredible islands off of Croatia, and then the notion of having a chance to check them out, I mean, was I couldn't resist that. And so anyway, so I'm on a boat, and we're going along the islands, checking out the islands outside of Croatia, and it's outstanding. I mean, they're beautiful. Game of Thrones, of course, made them famous, but no, they're just these beautiful islands and all this sort of stuff where.
And we lost him. see if you can call him back, because we have got Coach Mike Leach joins us every single week. He just travels all over the place.
That's what I was going to ask. That was going to be my one question: is where is there any place you haven't been or any place you want to go?
Yeah.
But it's like 2:00 in the morning. He's in the islands of Croatia, and let me tell you, that's on my bucket list. Yeah. It's not something you don't. People put you put England and France and Italy, and you put all those, but Croatia is amazing. I've never been there, but
he tweeted out a picture about 4 hours ago, which I guess is roughly 10 o'clock his local time, and he's behind a ship's wheel, and he's back on the hotline. And Coach, sorry we got disconnected there. I did want to ask you. It's been an amazing week.
No, that's all right.
No, it's been an amazing week sports-wise.
Yeah.
You had the Caps win the Stanley Cup on Thursday. You had the Warriors win the NBA championship in a sweep last night. You had Justify, I don't know if you knew about this, won the Triple Crown today in the Belmont Stakes. Of those three, which one really kind of warms your heart? Which one's more impressive?
I think the Triple Crown kind of is, and I know that the others you're talking about people, and it's more emotional from the standpoint it's people. But if you think about winning the Triple Crown and what that takes, I mean, that's really outstanding. And I coached at Kentucky for a couple of years, so I think the Triple Crown. I mean, I know that. We got a Washington State Cougar there on the Golden State Warriors, and I love this guy.
Yeah,
and he's come and talked to us and everything else, and I love Golden State, and I wanted them to win the NBA championship, no question, not even close. Okay, not even close. I wanted them to win. Okay, so, and LeBron's a really good player, no question. But Golden State's even better. Golden State's more of a team, and that's why they won. And then, but however, if you win the Triple Crown, and I guess what we're arguing about here is whether or not you're a horse or a human. But the thing is, that if you're a horse, boy, it's pretty tough to win the Triple Crown.
Well, I'll tell you what's amazing. What's amazing is Rob Gronkowski.
You realize how stout you have to be to win the Triple Crown?
No doubt. And the fact that the last race is obviously the longest, and I think almost as impressively enough, is Gronk went off at 24-1 and actually came in second in the Belmont. I do want to ask you, and we don't talk a lot of politics on the show, and that's why people love us. The Golden State Warriors won't be going to the White House. I know the Philadelphia Eagles had a little snafu there with members saying they wouldn't be going to the White House. If Washington State, the Cougars, won the national championship and you get an invite, how would you handle it?
No, we'd go to the White House. Look, and I'll probably make some people mad with this, which probably appeals to you in a certain way. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is I've known Donald Trump since 2004. He's a warm, sincere-hearted guy, which is more than you can say about most Americans, and it honestly is. I mean, because everybody wants somebody to stumble up and make some mistake or something. And here we're sitting here with the best economy we've ever had, the lowest unemployment rate, as far as everybody's ever had. We're trying to find something wrong with it. Okay, and that whole thing's absurd. Okay, so without involving Washington State in this stuff, me personally, separately, outside of any responsibility of Washington State, I'm a Trump guy, have been from the beginning. and I'm not ashamed to say it. Do I think America's better with Donald Trump? Yeah, I do, and I think it's better by a lot. Okay, and then all this business of, do you want to go to the White House? I mean, you should want to. You should want to. If you don't go. I mean, if you don't go. You know, and to me, it's as simple as that, really. And I don't think anybody should have to do something they don't want to do. But by the same token, I do think everybody should be able to say whatever they want to say. And anyway, so I'm proud of our president. He's made a lot of accomplishments that I think we can all be proud of, and they're nearly impossible to ignore. I know that media-wise we try to ignore it, but what he's accomplished is nearly impossible to ignore, and we can continue to try to. But are you kidding me? What do we want differently? You know.
We've been talking about spring break. My partner, Dr. Josh Claypo, went down to spring break with his son, who's going to Wash U up in the St. Louis area, and he was talking about how they made bread and made their own dinners, and they didn't drink a whole lot, and they were doing all these things. And you're on spring break. What are you doing?
Wait, who was doing that on spring break?
Dr. Josh Claypo, my radio partner. He was down in Santa Rosa Beach. Is that right?
Near Panama City. Yeah.
Santa. Yeah. So they were down there, and
what they do there?
Well,
they lifted weights.
No, it wasn't.
They
Come
made
on,
bread.
now
they made their own meals.
No.
They didn't drink. I was like, what kind of spring break is this?
No. I will tell you.
I do get a kick out of people that go on vacation and decide they're going to start out their workout program.
That's what I'm talking about.
I will say this though. I wouldn't say vacations, but on breaks, I have at times gone and done kind of cleanses. You know, eat healthy, limit the vices, and come back refreshed and ready to go.
Okay. So that's what I did because I'm 50. Yeah. That's not what these kids did. They didn't limit their vices. They just did their vices plus everything else.
Let me ask Coach. Coach, have you ever taken a break from something, whether it be a device or you talked about cleansing during a break, and then actually pick that habit up in a good way coming home?
Yeah, but I also think that it's good to take a breather a little bit to kind of put a space in between to refresh. And I'll tell you the other thing, there's times that I just want to change. I just want to, I know it sounds like, the whole party on spring break's a lot of fun, but, depending what you've been up to, before, sometimes I'll use some of these breaks to kind of decompress, to get sleep, relax, that type of thing, and then lift off again later on when I get back.
Where does your staff and your kids go out of Pullman for spring? Is there a good spring break area? I know you're skiing, right?
Nowadays they go all over. It used to be a little more precise. It used to be more precise, but this is, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but what it seems to me is used to be spring break was approximately the same time. There were one or two different slots. Now it seems like there's like 5 different slots of when schools take spring breaks, maybe even more than that. And then these guys will go a variety of places. On our team, some are just hanging out, doing their own thing, but a lot of them go to the west side with friends. We got a bunch of guys from California, so they'll go to California or go to the beach. Occasionally, a group of guys will get together and go do somewhere in Mexico, Cancun, or Cabo's kind of getting. You hear them talk about Cabo some.
That's good. I spent my honeymoon down there.
Some go skiing. I'm kind of doing. I'm multitasking, which it seems like I'm always multitasking, but I got remnants of both sides of the family in Utah, although I never lived here. So came to Utah, so seeing both sides of the family, and then also getting some skiing in.
Is skiing still good this time of year, I guess, there, huh?
Yeah, it's been really good. They got a lot of snow. It's been really good. Yesterday, was pretty even, a little slushier than you'd like, but a great day.
Coach, we were kidding, halfway kidding. I said you must have some clause that prevents you from doing dangerous things like skiing. But then I did think about what is it? Well, first of all, do you? And then the second of all, what about your players? Or whether it's skiing or going down to Cabo. I mean, you got to worry. Just a bunch of 19 to 22-year-olds. I own one. I have one, and it makes me nervous. What's your mindset when your players are going off to spring break?
You worry. There's no clauses. There's no written obligations that I'm familiar with. But, you do worry, and it does cross your mind. But the other side of it is with the demands of the training and all the other things you do, eliminating life altogether, because we do eliminate a portion of it with the regimentation and how many hours that are required to be successful at football, not just on the field and not just in meetings, but, just to put yourself in a position to be successful, whether it's, eating right, the trainer, and exercise and sleep. And then, of course, you take care of your academics.
Well, Coach, as always, we greatly appreciate your time. We love having you on every single week. Happy belated birthday. We sent you a package, I guess we've sent a couple days ago. You should be getting it for your birthday. So happy birthday to you. Enjoy your spring break. We'll catch up next week, okay?
Be safe.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. It's always great to hear from you guys.
Thank you, brother.
Care,
appreciate
Coach.
it. There he is, Coach Mike Leach of the Washington State Cougs.
He's got a good mentality.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.